Hey everyone, Sean here, Wisdom in Golf. You've never seen anyone shoot 62 thinking about all the positions that they're trying to, make sure of. And Jose Maria Canizares really demonstrated that beautifully if you saw his interview on DP World Tour this week. Opened up with a 62. What was your secret? Well, I stopped thinking about my technique, which doesn't work. No, it will never work because you can't be in your swing positions while the target is waiting for you. So we need serious skill acquisition. Fortunately, there are many ways to acquire the skill of a golf swing that are super easy that you could learn tomorrow. Believe it or not, you don't want to miss this show.
My goal today was to focus only on the targets, not to focus on my swing since it hasn't worked.
So then when we get over the ball, you got your clear and immediate target. I can see this flight as clear as I'm standing here. And there it is. There's the blur, just like we rehearsed, momentum. Again, I'm not gonna look at the target and just stay down in it.
Wow. Amazing sound that just came off of that. Now, one easy skill that we all know and love here at Wisdom in Golf is the cutting of the grass. So if your job was to cut grass for people's lawns, you would take a grass whip like this and you would go about cutting grass at ground level, and it would take you about a day to master this and about a month to become a wizard at it. Acquired skill, something you would never, ever lose, So you're not going to lose that particular swing. And that's what people just don't understand, is that you've got a golf club here that's designed especially to cut grass. So if you take this as a dandelion, I'll give you an example. I put this on the tee. I'll take my grass whip. I'm going to go ahead and cut through the tee. Here we go. So notice you heard the grass being clipped. So my eyes are on the grass and I'm focusing on the blade skipping along the surface of the ground. See that? Notice how I cut the tee out from under the ball and the ball just fell to the ground. This is really important. So the skill acquisition here involves sole of blade to ground. Now another particular, and then if I take my 9-iron here, listen to the sound, right? I come to the ball. My eyes are between the leading edge of the club and the ball, and I'm just going to let the sole of the club shave grass along the ground. When I do that, the stem of this dandelion is going to get cut. So I shave grass. Hear the sound? So I shave grass along the surface of the ground and the ball pops up in the air. If I only had one arm and I was cutting grass with just one arm, notice the center of that machine is my right shoulder. And notice the club keeps cutting grass right under my shoulder. That's the center of that machine. So if I take both arms, put them together to take my grip, and I shave grass there, it'll always shave grass from the center of my sternum, the sternal notch, forward. I'm going to take a gap wedge and I'm going to cut along that. So the reason why I'm taking my gap wedge is so that first ball can fly over the second ball. So I can go from gap wedge to lob wedge. I see the grass that I'm about to cut. I'm using momentum. Cut through both stems. So you'll notice in slow motion, when I perform that, you'll see the first ball fly over the second ball, the club continue along the ground, and then the second ball fly into the air. I'm just cutting grass. What you're about to see Jamie Lett do, who is the number two player in Alabama right now, soon to be number one. See, Jamie, I'm already thinking about you. And a model of consistency, he loves to use painting the ground. So notice how I just took a paintbrush and duct taped it to my club. And all I'm going to do is use momentum to paint the grass in front of my ball. So I would actually have the sole of my club. I'm going to keep my eyes here on right there, right in front of the ball. And I'm going to paint the ground using the sole of the club. Here we go. Hear the sound. The sound of the sole of the club in friction with the ground on the way to the target. So I have a very specific task that I'm going to acquire, you're going to acquire. Paint the ground in the direction of the target. So if I'm painting the ground in that direction, I'm going to whip the paint in that direction. Hear the sound? So I'm taking these bristles and I'm painting along the surface of the ground. And then when the paintbrush releases, flings the ball in that direction. So it's like if I'm sweeping the ground, I'm collecting the dust from here, putting pressure on the broom, and releasing the dust in the direction of the target. So I'm painting towards the target. So let's have a look at our beautiful little video that we did with Jamie Lett. This is painting a stripe along the ground, striping it like you were mentioning before, painting a stripe along the ground in the direction that you want that ball to start. And with one of your prominent players, you were talking about how that really took the anxiety out of his thinking, and it put something really simple out in front of him, and everything started to, like you bathe in oil.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
So let me see you take that shot there again. So we got 8-iron. We have a stripe. We're getting ready to paint a stripe in the direction that we want that ball to start, and we're using momentum to deliver that stripe. Awesome miss.
Yeah, and that's the other thing with a good. That's the thing with in my game in general is when you have a clear task like that and you the misses are better. You're always in the ballpark. So you're better than ballpark. You're always in the ballpark.
You have a clear task, a clear picture, and then when you set up in there, so if we're saying, well, I'm going to hit a little draw to the right edge of those trees, and you know that fits, that's spot on right there. That's right there is the edge of the trees. So now you'll see his alignment matches up beautifully to the edge of those trees. I'm sure you see that on camera there. And he's getting ready now to deliver momentum in that direction. So show me a position where you'd be way too far from the ball, Jamie. See, to him, that's way too far. You didn't have to move very far, did he?
Nope.
Right? You knew right away I can't do it from here.
Yep.
So get way too close. And now you just don't have the space to get there.
Nope.
And now show me something that fits. So from there, you feel like you can use momentum to paint that ground in that direction.
For sure.
So now show me a ball position and be way too far forward for that shot. Now you're going to have to lunge to try and paint the ground here.
Yep.
And show me some is too far back in the stance. Now we're going to have to reach back. Right. And something that's proper. So now it feels like when you paint the ground this way, the ball position will allow the ball to start on the line that you want it to. And now the rest is just grip club relationship. And every time I look at your grip and I'm going, man, you know, does that ever look good? So Jamie has a strong-ish grip, and the way his hands work through the shot is it feels like, hey man, when I swing that way, the ball's going that way. So grip club relationship is something that's really important for you to do. And you'll see that on the premium channel. There's, you know, we take a lot of pride in the way we teach the grip so that you're able to sling, and you'll use the anatomy to sling in the direction that you want to start. So we got flight plan, intermediate point, setup that matches, and now we just let momentum. Now you're just a witness, right?
That's it.
You're just going to witness yourself deliver that way. And there it is. Pure. So you went from a nice, good miss, slightly thin shot to pure.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to think about what you needed to fix
Not at all.
from that thin shot?
Not at all.
As soon as you hit that thin shot, what went through your mind?
Not much.
Not
really.
much, because your
Yeah.
brain already knew.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not the feel. I know what feel. That's the feel.
Yep.
That's the look. That's the sound.
Yep.
So your mind, when you start getting good at a task, your mind is going to start collecting benchmarks, things to compare each shot to. And those benchmarks are the tide that raises all ships.
Exactly.
Right? So when you finally, what was it? You were talking to me about one of your students that had a benchmark moment. Was it your son, Jack?
Yes.
Was it Jack?
Yes.
Tell us the story.
Yeah. So, well, and it was for him. It was, you know, feeling the weight of the club.
Yeah.
That was-
All right.
So for the first time, he felt the weight of the club and the throw through the shot. So, and he's really tall, you know. So, I don't know how he got that. He got lucky, I guess. But he's about 6'2". He's 16 years old, and so his really the benchmark. What really got him turned on the most was he was, you know, he would always, he said, I just can't feel the weight of the club. He was a little too far inside.
Right,
You know?
right.
So he
was
was
stuck.
Yeah, and he was losing that arm unit and club unit, you know, related, he couldn't feel the weight. So we had him. I did the throw in the club with him, the throw in the club. So he taking
Beautiful.
the momentum.
One of our tasks is throwing the club.
Yes, so he was into using that momentum and using his long arms
Yes.
to throw the club in that direction. He went one day on GC3,
Yeah.
sitting here, he went from swinging his driver 105 to 117
In one day.
in about 5 swings. And that was the thing, the first throw he did, it went way left.
Right.
And so when we got that chain going, that
So-
was his go through.
When Jamie just did that last swing, there's a little sound, you know, where you hear the swish of the club, the sizzle of that club. It was way out here. So a lot of our students, when they first come to us, there's a lot of preconceived notions in there. And one of the worst preconceived notions is all the speed's at the bottom where the ball is. And all of the energy's got to be directed toward that ball. And so that's, you know, a real dangerous predicament that they're putting themselves into.
Mm-hmm.
When you're throwing the club, peak speed's over here. And so all of a sudden, there was a lot longer wait until that explosion came out, and it went from 105 to 117. Well, that's getting pretty serious.
Yeah, really is.
That's getting pretty serious.
And then all of a sudden, your ball trajectory improves, ball flight improves, and then but that was the part where he latched onto that feel.